Cool intro sound.
How's it going, guys? AlphaYGO back at it again, and today we are back with something really exciting. Today we got a Zoodiac deck profile. Yes, a Zoodiac deck that's gotten a lot of hype because of the recurrence of Dryden. As most of you know from just experiencing Zoo is pretty staple with what it's usually trying to do. It's basically just Zoo with as much good stuff you can fit into it, whether it's kaijus or hand traps or just a bunch of traps, whatever it is. I went about that same approach with a bit of a twist just to kind of accommodate for the current meta and for what's really powerful in the game right now, so you guys will kind of see the decisions I made along the way. But of course, Zoo is very flexible in the way you want to build it. I do know that there are a lot of variants with this deck where you can add in the Time Thief package, you can add in the Fire Fist package. Both are really insane. But I decided to opt away from that because I wanted to construct a deck that would really highlight what Zoo was able to do specifically and like shines best with kind of adapting to what the meta is doing. But by all means, I think those other versions are super cool and super fun, but I just went about it in a different way. So starting off our list, we of course have 3 Thoroughblade. Thoroughblade is really great because of all the Zoo monsters, it's probably the best normal summon along Rapier. Rapier and this are normal summons, and it kind of just lets you siphon off a Zoo card to essentially make your Chalkanine live in your extra deck, and for you to just dig deeper into your deck, so it's really great like that. Of course, we have then 3 Whiptail. Whiptail is just fantastic and like it's a banishing effect particularly, and it's like ability to kind of push for extra damage, which is really awesome. But the main point is obviously the banishing portion because a lot of monsters can't deal with that. Then we of course have 2 Ram Ram. 2 is all you really need, you don't really need any more than this, and it's really powerful with just Dryden being back at 1 now, so you're able to kind of pop it for extra plays and extending, so it's a really powerful card. Of course, the one of Rapier, it's at 1, but it's a really great card overall. And the 1 Bunny Blast, the 1 Bunny Blast is kind of a weird one. You don't really have to run it, but it's nice in the fact that like kind of like with Ram Ram, when you pop with Dryden or whatever, it's pop with something else, you'll be able to kind of retrieve back one of your Zoo cards in your grave. So stuff like Barrage, stuff like another Zoo monster. So it's kind of like Salad where they like to like dump with the Gazelle and like recur it back with Sunlight Wolf or whatnot. It's kind of the same function, but obviously in its own niche way. That's all we're running for Zoos because that's all you really need in a Zoo deck. You only need to ever see like 1 Zoo. Moving on from that, we have of course have hand traps. Your hand trap lineup can vary from format to format every single time. The ones I'm running right now trying to reflect what the deck wants to do. So Nibiru is a great blowout card against every Synchron, Eldritch deck, every Adamantipator deck. You really want Nibiru to resolve all those times against those decks because the boards they make are really bonkers. So you need a blowout card like this. We have triple Ash Blossom, which is pretty standard. But you'll also see I'm running triple Veiler and 2 Ogre. You'll see I'm running with the 3 Nibiru, and what you're seeing on the screen right now, we're running 11 hand traps. You have a chance of opening at least 1 hand trap around, I think, a little bit over 80% of the time. Of course, you can bump that even higher by adding more hand traps, but I think this is just enough because you'll see later on the way I approach this list. You'll see that the main hand traps we're running are also the tuners because we're running the Fiber Celine Access Code Talker play. And these really help for enabling that combo, and they're just really powerful hand traps overall. Ogre is just like a niche pick right now. You can choose the Autumn Fall, like the New Girl, or you can go even Ghost Reaper if you're really confident in facing a lot of Needle Fiber decks. Next up for our spells, we of course have 3 Tanky. This is basically the Rhoda of the deck, and doesn't really need much explanation to be honest. And of course the 1 Zoo Barrage. I'm kind of sad that it's gone from 3 to 1, but it had to be done or else everyone could throw Dryden into their deck, which is insane. Of course you run the 1 Barrage when you can. And we also have triple Desires. Desires is necessary. Like, I don't like Desires, but Desires is pretty necessary because like you gotta dig deep into your deck for more hand traps and more interactions with your opponent, because you're probably already gonna have the 1 to 2 Zoo monsters for you to combo fully, but you really just want more interaction with your opponent. Following that, we have triple Pot of Avarice. Pot of Avarice is really great in this deck because oftentimes it just increases your grind game even more and lets you dig deeper into your deck. It basically gives you even more copies of Dryden. It lets you just redo your plays over and over every turn, and it just lets you refill your hand with resources. It's really nice. And then moving on from there, we have more spells. We are running 3 Enemy Controller. Enemy Controller is essentially, and I'll explain this as I go on, it's just another piece of interaction I wanted that was a spell. The reason I want to stuff this deck with as many spells as I can is because what I wanted to do is basically fill your hand up with hand traps, set as many spell interactions as you can, and have your Zoo plays obviously, and on the next turn you're easily able to go into fiber, have enough spells to proc the Celine for the counters to bring back, you know, the Veiler or whatever to go into the Access Code Talker. I wanted that to be as alive as possible, so I forgo cards like Judgment and Imperm in the main deck. You can obviously run those in the side deck, but I forgo the traps in the main to go for the spells to allow for that combo, because it's a very powerful combo and it's game winning. It can totally wipe out boards, and that's the reason I kind of approached this list the way I did. And enemy controllers is really nice because sometimes like these could be like, let's say, Forbidden Chalice. Plus side of enemy controller is whether you open Thoroughblade with a Zoo in hand or Rapier, you're basically able to end on Trident, Hammer Kong. You know, you probably know the play. Your Trident is the piece of interaction, and this lets you just sack off the Hammer Kong to take your opponent's like Needle Fiber, and all of a sudden they just lost a Link 2 body for them to make plays with, you know, etc, etc. You can steal really important combo pieces and it can hinder them really greatly. And it doesn't really cost you anything because, well, with 3 Pot of Avarice and of course the Zoodiac combo that I'm going to show in a little bit, you have so much recursion, like it doesn't really matter. And so for fun with that, we also have 3 Cosmic Cyclone. These can also be swapped out for another interaction like the Chalice like I was talking about, but the reason for 3 Cyclone is because, for the number one reason, is Synchro Eldritch is the number one deck at the moment and you gotta respect it, and I think it deserves to have a main deck answer to them. These can also hit some other things, like I know a lot of other combo decks at the moment are running like Midfield Breaker or whatever it is, and etc etc. So I think having main deck back removal is just important. Next, for a couple 1-0s, we have a Monster Reborn. Monster Reborn is just really nice because it lets you go for those big pushes, because like I was talking about, if you don't have Tuner in hand, you can just bring one out, whether it's like a hand trap you just used, one of your opponent's hand traps, your opponent's Jet Synchron, whatever it is, you can get Needle Fiber, you can go into Celine, and you can go OTK. One upstart, I think just consistency is key in this deck. It's already a very consistent deck with like all the draw power you saw, and the Zoo engine is just very consistent in itself. It's just a spell card that lets you just see the next card, so why not? And of course the one trap card we're running is Zoodiac combo. It's just basically another copy of Pot of Avarice, but like with different utility. Not much to say, but it's a really nice card to just have for certain situations. So next up for the extra deck, we of course have 3 Chaka 9. Definitely one of my favorite. Actually, my favorite is Trident. Trident just looks the coolest out of all of them. We of course have 3 Tiger Mortar, the gal herself, Trident, along with just 1 Hammer Kong and 1 Borbo. I know you usually like to run an extra copy of the Stepping Stone ones, but in this list, because you kind of just want to fill up with more utility, there's a lot of great cards that this deck can run, and as such I decided to run the bare minimum. And for the last Ixies, I decided to run F-Zero. F-Zero is just a nice utility card. It's easy to make and it helps you out certain situations, gives you direct answers to things that you normally wouldn't have. Stealing your opponent's monster, just sacking it off, linking it off is really nice. And just to like, you would also have Gravity Controller. Gravity Controller is very easy to make in this deck as well. And for the link package, you of course have the Needle Fiber. Needle Fiber is really nice because obviously with combination to Celine, you're able to make really big pushes with the Access Code Talker. And the fact that you're maining Needle Fiber is nice because you are then able to run Cherries either in the main deck or the side deck, which is a really spicy pick right now, because if you think about it, if everyone's relying on this card, you might as well rip it out of their deck, right? Just some food for thought. And the last 2 cards here, unfortunately I don't have them on me. So one Access Code Talker that we've been mentioning the whole time, and the other one is Megaclops. Megaclops is really bonkers to make. It's a really insane card, I won't deny it. And I think a lot of people would be upset if I didn't run it, but you don't have to run it. You can run other things. There's a lot of other cool cards the deck is able to make, but I think Megaclops and Access Code Talker have the most all-around utility and purpose in the deck overall. Alright, that's about it guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. Zoo has been one of my favorite decks for a long time. I never even got to play it during Zoo format except for that last weekend, so I'm kind of sad about it. Fun fact actually, this is the first actual competitive deck I played, but the context was it was the last weekend that it was legal. I bought the whole deck for like $20. I almost made day 2, but I guess I didn't have enough practice. I was like 1 game off, but then I just decided to leave early because I got called in for something. So you know, life happens. I think it's a really fun deck. I think it's a really cool, you know, just for fun deck at the moment, and has a lot of good potential, honestly, just the way it's built right now, and a lot of stuff has happened to make the deck pretty good. But I think Zoo is just a really fun deck. Just always being able to have plays with just 1 Zoo card just always feels really nice for some reason. As a combo player, it always sucks whenever you brick, but it's really hard to brick in Zoo, so that's kind of nice. Yeah, so give it a try you guys. It's really fun. Shift around whatever cards you like, you know, here, there, whatever it is, and tell me how it goes. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll catch you guys later.